would love to share with you how to make these fluffy rolls. They are potato rolls, perfect for Thanksgiving. And they are from a 1942 vintage recipe from Cross Creek Cookery. And these rolls actually came from this 5-hour mashed potato yeast mixture that you can actually keep in your fridge and use for 10 days to make more of these delicious rolls whenever you want to. So let's get into the recipe to check out how to make these. My name is Trista, by the way, and I love vintage recipes and old cookbooks. I read them cover to cover. So discover with me how to bake and cook a lot of vintage recipes. Let's get right into the ingredients and how to make these. Okay, let's get into the ingredients, and the first step to this delicious icebox roll recipe, a lovely vintage recipe from Cross Creek Cookery. So you probably can see the steam coming off of these potatoes, or you might be able to. Anyway, these are some Yukon Gold potatoes that I boiled with their skins on. I just took the skins off, and I have my potato masher here. So we only need 1 cup of the mashed potatoes. So once I mash them, I'm going to measure them into there. Then we have a 1/2 cup of lukewarm water with 2 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast mixed in. Then we have a cup of cold water, and then we have a cup of hot water. It's potato water that the potatoes boiled in. And then we have a cup of sugar. So these aren't all the ingredients for the rolls. This is just kind of for the potato mixture, pre-ferment mixture. So let's mash up these potatoes, and then we'll get all this mixed in. This is a really interesting recipe because it's kind of very, they give you amounts, but the instructions are very loose. So I'm going to clarify all of that in my version of the recipe in the description box below. And there you'll be able to follow along a lot easier, because some of these old recipes, they presuppose that you know a lot of things. Because you definitely have to look up a lot of information to be able to make some of these. So I love to break that down here for you so that you're able to make these at home. All right. So let's get that, filling up our cup measure, and then we can just save the rest of the mashed potatoes for eating with lunch or dinner or something. There's not a lot there. But anyway, I just boiled these in a small saucepan with their skins on for 15-20 minutes. You may make sure that they're very, very soft, so there's no uncooked bits in there. So we want to smooth it over and get a full cup there. So we're going to take that away. We'll get our big bowl here. And then we'll get our cold water in, our potato water in, it's still hot, our sugar, and then our lukewarm water and yeast mixture. I will have all the ingredient amounts and instructions there for you down below. And these are called Zelma's Icebox Rolls. I think it's such a cute name. So basically, we just mix this together as is, and we're gonna cover it with a towel, and we're gonna wait 5 hours. So I'll see you here a little bit later. It won't look like later in the video, but I'll see you then. So 5 hours have not elapsed yet, but I just wanted to show you that I kind of put this mixture off to the side on the stove if I'm not using it, because it's usually fairly warm here. So I just cover it up with a towel, just like we do for dough or anything like that. So that's how I let this sit. Let's talk about our ingredients and then get to mixing up the rolls. We've got our potato mixture that sat there for 5 hours. I've got 1/3 cup of melted butter here. I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And then I have 1 egg here. And then we'll also be adding a teaspoon of salt. I like to use kosher salt, so that's what we have here. So basically it says to mix up the egg in a measuring cup. I'm assuming we want this to add up to 1 cup, but it actually does not say. So we're gonna use our best judgment here, mixing that up really well. And then we're going to ladle in some of our kind of potato yeast mixture. This is really interesting. It almost reminds me of a sourdough starter, but just made out of potatoes. Pretty cool. And apparently you can keep this yeasted potato mixture in the fridge for up to 10 days and use it for baking. So that is really cool. So we are going to put our liquid mixture into a larger bowl. We're going to add the salt. 4 of these equals about a teaspoon. And then we're going to add our melted butter. Let's mix that up a little. And then I'm going to add the flour. So we're making a very soft dough. If it is way too soft, I'll be adding a little bit more flour. But as the instructions are minimal, we just have to do our best here. And luckily, since I've done a lot of baking, I can tell when we need to adjust something. So this dough actually looks just about right. Now, it does not say whether we need to let these rise before baking, but I think I will actually let them rise just a little bit. So we've got a nice soft dough there. It's lovely. So what I'm gonna do is get my floured board here. And then I've got this handy thing, and you can also use parchment paper, but this is to lower down bread or rolls into a Dutch oven. In your oven, it's like, it has little handles here, and I always grease it with pan spray. So I'm gonna be placing my finished rolls on this, and then we'll be lowering it into the heated Dutch oven after these rise just a little bit. So I'm gonna have that off to the side. And not sure, you know, actually, let's take this out. And we're gonna come back in just a moment because I'm gonna get my bench scraper so that we can divide this dough up properly into the amount of rolls that we wanna make. And it just says it's enough rolls for about 4 people. So we'll just adjust accordingly. I'll be right back with that. So let's use this. First, we're gonna divide this dough into 4. And you know, that might be just about right to make 4 rolls. So you can always make a bigger recipe if you need more rolls. And yeah, keep the potato yeast mixture in your fridge for, you know, a few days, up to 10 days, and you can make rolls whenever, which is pretty cool. It might be a great thing to do a certain amount of time before Thanksgiving so that you can make rolls with this mixture. So what I'm doing is just kind of pulling down and making a nice ball out of the dough so it looks like a pretty roll. I'm trying to smooth it out a little bit. It's not gonna be super perfect, but it will be a nice roll. All right, so let's just leave it at that. And we're gonna place that onto this mat here. Google, stop. I had my timer on for the roll dough, but I knew it was just about ready, so we already started. Sorry about that timer. Anyways, you can also roll these out and form them into, you know, fancier shaped rolls if you want, but I'm just gonna do kind of the rustic one. So, how many of you love rolls for Thanksgiving? For me, it's not Thanksgiving without rolls. Or I'm just someone that loves carbs and bread because I love baking and it's really tasty. I cannot have breakfast without bread, so that's why I'm making bread all the time. All right, so we are going to, you know, I'm gonna let these sit here. I'm gonna cover them up and we're gonna let them sit here for 15-20 minutes before we get them in the oven, just so that they have a little time to rise. Okay, I'll see you then. So these are our rolls. I let them sit there for, it was probably around 45 minutes here. I just wanted to make sure that they rose a little bit. And I thought I would brush them with butter just to gild the lily a little bit here and make them really pretty. So the recipe says to bake them for about 30 minutes. So in a moment, I'm going to show you how I get these into my Dutch oven in the oven. Okay, so I placed the rolls in the Dutch oven using this handy dandy little thing. You could also just use parchment paper that's sprayed with pan spray. This Dutch oven's been heating in the oven for over an hour now, so it's nice and hot. And I'm just going to use a glove to get the lid on, and then we'll let that bake for about half an hour at 375. These are the finished rolls out of the Dutch oven, well, out of the oven and baked in the Dutch oven. So they look golden brown and really fluffy. So let's have a family tasting in just a little bit, and I'll share what we all thought of these. Right, we're all here to taste these potato rolls.
Potato rolls? Oh, that sounds
yes.
good. They're dense.
Yeah.
Soft.
Nice, kind of biscuit-like. Are quite fluffy.
It is really good.
Really buttery and fluffy.
Very biscuit-like.
Yeah, it's kind of like eating a giant biscuit.
They're like eating a giant biscuit.
I would definitely
Not
make
bad
those
plain.
again.
Would be amazing toasted with butter.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I think definitely an improvement over the standard dinner roll.
Yeah, definitely. I would
Approved.
make these again.
I like them.
Good vintage recipe.
Good one.
Thank you guys. Enjoy. Hope you try the recipe.